time in, bring in our guest. Man, we are almost on time, guys. We've been rocking and rolling, and it's rare that we keep on a pace like this, but we do it because my main man, Gene Thomas, with the best podcast name in the history of the world. Buck, what you heard in the house. Look at you. You're looking good. Are you feeling good after the 2023 draft?
Gene.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Shout out to the fans. I love the fans. I got quite a few people that, that watch the show that follow me, and I really appreciate that. It remains to be seen. I like the moves that they made. They addressed both sides of the trenches, which to me is very important, in keeping a team competitive. So the Bucks suffered some serious injuries. You're losing Shaq Barrett, catastrophic injury, and Levante David wasn't 100% all season. So, getting some depth in certain positions was definitely needed.
All right. So let's, like right now, I guess, what is the feeling? I guess, I mean, look, as you guys went all in, you got your Super Bowl. It's been a question on this show that I've posed to people that's been very difficult for them to answer, I guess. And that is, would you rather have maybe 10 years of continued playoff success, but not have a Super Bowl? Or would you rather walk through the desert for 10 years and have a Super Bowl at the end? That's what you guys have done. You walked through the desert for 20 years, in a sense. You found the promised land with Tom Brady. But right now, it seems like a rebuilding, not seems like it is a rebuilding time, unless you think Baker Mayfield's going to keep you in it, which I don't think anybody's doing that. So how did this draft contribute to that rebuilding point? Or do I have it wrong from the outside looking in?
The roles have reversed, Gene.
Well, to be honest, the way I'm seeing it, the Bucks still think they can win. New head coach, or not new, but second year. This will be a second year with Todd Bowles. They've gotten rid of your offensive coordinator in Byron Leftwich and replace him. And it's so much is up in the air. So much is just unknown that right now I don't want to sound like a cop out, but I can tell you about the draft picks. But as far as how everything else is going, you've got Mike Evans coming back. You've got Chris Godwin. You've got a lot of your regulars, Kate Otten, and some of your tight ends are coming back. You've got Ryan Jensen coming back off of injury. Leonard Fournette is gone. Donovan Smith, they've kind of moved on from him. So you've got some new pieces in there, and it's just remains to be seen how all this is going to all fit together.
Yeah. So first, before I ask any questions of you, Gene, the chat is loving that shirt.
They love it.
That
They're
you're
all
wearing.
over it.
Is that Mike Florio?
Yeah, you better believe it is.
Yeah. That's Mike Florio?
Yeah, it is.
From how old is he there? It looks different.
No, I actually Super Bowl is in Arizona. I actually wore this over to where NBC was filming at, and I know somebody had to have seen it. I hate that guy.
Mike Florio, the lawyer. Man, did you get that custom made, or did you just stumble across it?
A friend of mine knows how much I dislike him, and he sent me one.
That's a weird friend. That's a weird friend.
Because he knew I'd wear it in public. So
yeah.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
So Gene, listen, great having you back on the show, man. And I, just joking around, I said we have reversed roles, man. It feels like a little while ago we were talking about, hey, maybe maybe Baker Mayfield could make the Panthers a contender in the NFC South and be that surprise team. Well, now I'm going to pitch that question back to you. I feel like you know how we felt about Baker Mayfield. I want to know what you think. Do you feel like Baker is in a good position to succeed, or is it only a matter of time until Kyle Trask is under center?
There's still a lot of time left before the regular season. You never know. That I know the Bucks are still looking at the quarterback. So there's a lot of things that are still out there, and these are Panther leftovers. You talk about Teddy Bridgewater, and we've got Baker Mayfield here, And so, these are guys that the Bucs are looking at to lead this team come day one. I
A
just
full
don't.
off season though. A
Yeah.
full off season's got to help him a little bit rather than
Absolutely.
They got in Carolina just like he got off the plane and had to play basically.
Yeah. So again, it's I'm hoping that the offensive coordinator can play to his strengths. I just find Baker Mayfield to be very emotional, and if somebody in the media says something or somebody says something and rubs in the wrong way, he'll go out and play good one week, and then the next week, so, and then he's inconsistent, and you can't. I don't know. You just can't. That's just the way his NFL career has been going, I guess is what I want to say.
Tell us about your draft. Tell us what you got in the draft and what you think about it overall.
Oh, the draft. I'm pretty happy with it. Kalijah Kancey, defensive tackle out of Pittsburgh. I know a lot of people knocked him because he's got shorter arms, but he's kind of built like this is my guy in for the Rams, Aaron Donald. He's built like Aaron Donald. And when you consider that, he's been a very disruptive player, and he's really done some great things. I would say, what was this? 14 and a half sacks and 27 and a half tackles for loss in 2 years with Pitt. And he's going to be disruptive. I like the fact that they're going to put him next to Vita Vea, and I feel like if he plays to his potential, what we saw in college playing next to Vita Vea, that could be a real disruptive force in the middle, and it can cause problems for people trying to run the ball.
Yeah. Who's next? Round two.
Round two is Cody Mock. This is my favorite pick.
How can you not love this dude? I think I finally found a player on the Bucs that I like.
He looks like a Pixar character.
The fact that he's missing front teeth, I was like automatic. Let's get this guy and go fishing. We'll go out and go fishing
or smoke meth together.
We'll cook a brisket or something together. This guy is what an offensive lineman looks like to me. I mean, him and Ryan Jensen, I can just,
if he gets his teeth fixed, I'm gonna be disappointed.
He's not gonna get them fixed. He did an interview and he talked about that.
Why does he not have teeth?
He likes it.
What, he took them out?
He stopped,
how did he lose them?
He lost them in the 7th grade in a basketball game. And then when he got to college, he just stopped wearing them. He stopped using the veneers that he had in there.
Like the bridge or whatever.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's kind of like Michael Strahan's gap teeth. How it's like a personality trait at this point.
But I will tell you this is you don't want your offensive lineman to be pretty.
Yeah.
What I've learned about Tony though is he tends to have a type. It's white guys that look like they're from the Bible Belt in the 1980s. Like between him and Minshew,
like Joe Dirt. I love Joe Dirt and Cam Newton.
It's French.
And Kid Rock.
And Kid Rock.
Yeah, and the one thing, Jason Light's done really well with kids from small market teams, small college teams, and I mean, you look back at Ali Marpet, and there have been some other offensive linemen that the Bucs have had, and North Dakota State. I mean, that just is right in Jason Light's wheelhouse right there.
Yep.
All right, so next up, this is a cool.
Go ahead.
Okay, no, you go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, what out of all the players in this draft, is there one that stuck out to you that that you're really loving? Like right now, the Panthers drafted
Yo Gabba Gabba, who was drafted in the 3rd round.
Yeah, like the Panthers are loving Jonathan Mingo, the wide receiver that we drafted in the 2nd round.
It's got to be Cody Mock. It's got to be.
All right,
this guy. He's a nasty player. I mean, he plays right up until the whistle, and I think the one knock on him was his pass blocking, but that's coachable. I mean, he's got all the physical tools to really, be great and, get in there and protect the quarterback. So I think this is probably one of my favorite picks. I love the trenches. I think if you guys remember going back in the day, the Bucs did not have anything on either side, on the offensive side or the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah,
So
it's been a weakness, but you guys did get better momentarily
yeah.
there.
So when you've had players come through like your Hakeem Nicks and Ndamukong Suh has been in there. You've got Shaq Barrett. They drafted Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who's slowly coming along. So they've made some moves to continue to improve on that line, and they're going to continue to attack that.
Awful story broke today, or I think it was today that I read it first.
Yesterday, I
Shaq
think.
Barrett's
Yes, I think it was
child drowned, which is
Mm.
so. I mean, the most horrific thing you can
Yeah.
think of is not only do I have children, but I have a pool in my backyard. Thank God I didn't get it when my kids were young, but you have to. It's always we hear these occasionally. We hear these wildly horrific and heartbreaking, heart-wrenching stories. So our hearts go out to him, even and the Bucks and his family. Even though we don't like the football team, we
Yeah.
understand that these people are really people. And man, I can't imagine living that. It reminds me of a story of and I forget the guy's name. I wouldn't know it, but it's been so long. He used to play tight end for the Baltimore Ravens, and the poor guy back like he had a big full-size truck, and the kid was behind him. And and it's just like you can't, and I have children, and it's like these things can happen to any single one of us. It's so terrible to hear. So hopefully not hopefully is the hope whatever is, I mean, gosh, I can't imagine living with that for the rest of my life. So Yo
It's just
Gabba Gabba next though.
Yeah.
What a name this guy's got. What's this guy's name?
Yaya Diaby.
Yaya Diaby. Now that's y'all's t-shirt. That's y'all's t-shirt genius right there.
So again, addressing the linebacker position, that Levante David re-signed with the Bucks, which I was really happy about. And hopefully this is somebody
he did. Is this when he was saying that he was going to sit out? What did they give him?
No, that's you're talking about
Devin White.
Devin White.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens with that situation. I'm unsure. Me, I'm honest about it. I'm not going to sit here and be a homer. Devin White is not. You can't give this guy max money just based on his play last year. I mean, he played good, but he didn't play over the top good where you give somebody a max contract. So
yeah, there was one point where people were comparing him to Luke Kuechly at one moment when he first came into the league.
I wanted to ask you that, Gene. A few weeks ago, it was a part of our show. There were rumors that he potentially wanted to be traded, gone to another team. And then people were kind of playing clips of him last year just looking terrible. Yeah. Was he just unmotivated to be there? And do you think that they will trade him?
I don't think the Bucks are going to trade him. I think they're going to, use him. This is a year where he can get some film out there, and maybe he can get that max contract. But again, there were times where he was a liability in coverage, and there were times where he just was going rogue and not taking care of his assignments. And it's just those are the little things, the little details that make great players. And if you guys know as well as I do, players like Luke Kuechly, he always had an eye for detail. He was always in the right place at the right time, and you didn't see him going out playing rogue. He was a guy that took care of his assignment and kept everybody else in line. He was like the quarterback on the defense when he was on the field. So we just haven't seen him get to that point where he's that guy who's controlling everything on the defensive side of the ball. It just hasn't occurred. And again, it's one of those things I just don't see how you can get this guy a max contract.
Yeah. Okay. Greg, Sakay, you want to jump in, or Tony?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go. When you look at the way the Bucks have been built, right? They're still the same talented. I mean, really, from a large portion of it, they're still the same team that won the Super Bowl, right? From the roster standpoint, outside of the quarterback. I know we've, and I'm sure you've talked about the quarterback position ad nauseum, as we have as Panthers fans. But what is the one thing or the one move that you think they need to make to be back at that same caliber of, or at least close to being the caliber of team that the talent around it should, would deem that it's, needs to be?
Ooh, that's a tough one because the jury's still out with me on the head coach. I'm going to be honest. I love Todd Bowles as a defensive coordinator. I would never have a problem with him being a defensive coordinator, but
he looks old and tired on the side.
And it kind of reminds me of with Dirk Cutter a little bit. When Dirk Cutter was the head coach, went from offensive coordinator to head coach of the Bucs. And I'm just not 100% sure that this is the guy, because last year there was a game where the Bucs would have rather gone into overtime than taken a chance to go down and win the game. And that's coaching right there. And I was at that point, I really struggled to really
Good old
be
Ron
100%
Rivera move.
Yeah, to be 100% behind this guy, because we're so used to Bruce Arians, risking it and whatever you needed to do, and now you have somebody who's playing conservative, early 2000s, mid 2000s football is what you're kind of seeing. So I hope he can turn this around and lean on his offensive coordinator and let these guys play to their strengths. Is what I'm really hoping for. But I can tell you for a fact that your head coach and your quarterback are the two of the biggest and most important pieces on the team. On it, I know that you have to factor in the rest of the team, but just going from Bruce Arians and Jameis Winston to Bruce Arians and Tom Brady, and you throw in some free agency pieces, and you've got a team that goes to the Super Bowl. And again, you have to have a quarterback that can come in and make good decisions, not just make plays with his legs, but be able to get the ball out as quickly as possible without putting a lot of stress on the offensive line as well.
How are you feeling about the NFC South and the layout now going forward as we go in? Because, we get so locked into the way we see our own teams. We're in this. We've been in this wild excitement because we got a new coaching staff, offensive coaching staff, which we have never had. Now we got our quarterback, so we feel like the sky's the limit. We're like, we're gonna win the NFC South. That's how we go.
It's definitely up for grabs. I think with the Saints brought in Derek Carr, which I'm not, whatever. And I just think that I look at the Saints and possibly Atlanta, competing for that NFC South title as well.
Fantastic stuff. Gene, are you on StreamYard these days? Is that what you rock with?
Yeah.
Okay, so StreamYard has a rebroadcast to your own channel feature now, where if we did something here on our channel, you can push it to your channel and monetize it yourself and do something. I think this might be the feature that brings back Southbound and Down.
We need to make it happen.
A once a month maybe, or a bi-weekly show where we get that going on, and we could just talk shit to Atlanta Falcon fans and Saints fans together. You and I just team up together.
I'm all for it, especially Atlanta. I'm all for it. I do not have a problem with that. So
somehow they were the laughing stock on day one for drafting a running back. And then somehow the media has gone and said they have like an A+ draft or some shit after this. I'm like, the
Panthers and the Bucs have gotten the short end of the stick when it comes to these power rankings. It's absolutely hysterical. Did you see Dan Hanzus' power rankings there?
I haven't seen them.
I haven't seen them.
They have the Bucs listed at 29th, and they have the Panthers at 25. They dropped us 7 spots after the draft. They moved.
How do you go down after you get your quarterback?
No, listen, this is even worse. They moved New Orleans up to 16 from they were at 28. They moved them up 12 spots because of Derek Carr. And I listen, I'm going to go through this rant, so bear with me. And then they had the Falcons listed ahead of all of us. They were listed at number 20. And I'm just sitting here thinking, all right, let's look at what we have let's just look at it from an objective position. The New Orleans Saints have
no cap space.
Derek Carr.
That's right? Always.
Let's just talk about what they have. They have Derek Carr. They have Alvin Kamara, who might not even be there.
He might do some time.
Right.
Which he really should.
Time?
He should do some time based on what we saw in that video.
Time.
Right?
Really?
Yes.
I didn't
he-
see it. I
he-
need to go find the video.
Yeah, I mean, it was
beat the
clear
brakes
that
off
he did.
dude.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how he's going to have any defense at this, but anyway. But when a lot of people are like, they should go up in the power rankings because they have Derek Carr, who is like a good quarterback, and I'm like, do you guys realize what he did with the Raiders last year with the number one wide receiver in the NFL, the number one running back in the NFL,
The number one tight end. Darren,
well-
well, not number one, but Darren Wall or whatever that guy was. He's been fantastic for years. Yeah,
he hasn't. And listen, I had him as like in my fantasy league, right? The dude was absolutely horrendous last year. And you're thinking he's going to go to a new offense, learn again with a new offense with a Michael Thomas who's always questionable. Like that you really believe that this is about to happen. Like I cannot.
And Michael Thomas is old. He won't. He's a old possession receiver. Josh in the chat said Carr is old. Decent. Carr is decent, and that's it. At the best, he's decent.
I'm with CK. I drafted him last year in my fantasy league, and he disappointed me. So I'm not down with the thing.
He like when you have Devontae. I don't know how Devontae Adams would have like 30 points in a game, and Derek Carr would still only have a net of 10 points. Like it didn't make any sense. But it was like the dude found a way to not be a good quarterback.
Man. He's two touchdowns, 2 interceptions every week, 225 yards. Gene, great stuff. Tell us where they can get after you. Buck What You Heard, man. My favorite podcast title of all times. You've been right. I mean, it really is. It's like I wish it wasn't for the Bucks or the team. It's such a good the name for the podcast. I always say that when I see you. You've been like us though. You've been rocking for a long time in these streets, man. It's great.
You know what's funny? Real quick, I'm noticing there have been some Carolina Panthers podcasts that have kind of popped up on my YouTube. I feel like I'd be cheating on my girl if I went and watched them. So I'm like, I'm not interested. I'm kind of move on. So where were you guys when the Panthers were losing and they were southbound and down basically? But
well, I mean, we're on these streets, right? Together, we've been on these streets for a minute.
I know there's room for everybody else, but when the new stuff comes along, okay, whatever. C3 is where I get my information. I've been getting my intel from you guys, so.
This is the best way, guys. This is what we do. This is the same for me. Is like if I want to know about the Bucks or the Saints, I go check out the people that I've known that have been doing this and just intimately following it closely for a long time. They give a lot of good context, and we get. That's what I think our shows do. Is we don't just react to a headline, but we give a long-term context of things. To the fact that I'm putting out stories right now on CarolinaCatChronicles.com about how Cam Newton's injury in 2014 and Brian Burns' injury in this offseason could be so. It's like it's not just what's been happening, but what is happening with Buck What You Heard, and how can our fans go find you? When are you going on the YouTubes next?
I'll be on tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. Buck What You Heard on YouTube. You follow me on Twitter, Buck What You Heard. You follow me, I'll follow you back. I love talking football, and this is going to be a fun season. Nobody knows what the other teams got going on. I mean, we got a new offensive coordinator here in Tampa and some new faces, and the Panthers just have a totally new look. I mean, there's no film on Carolina this year, so.
We might be back to normal, Gene, and that is that every year it's a different team at the top of the NFC South. You remember that's how it was for a long time, is that it was just from last to first, from first to last. It kept things exciting. Hopefully we're at the top. Gene, great stuff, man. Everybody go check out Gene Thomas at Buck What You Heard. Man, we're going to be getting back together a lot more now in this offseason.
Oh, I love you guys, man. Great show, great content. Keep it up, man.
You're the man, Gene.
Thank you, Gene.